Good morning, lovely people. How are you all doing today? I hope you are well. I said I hope you're well. Yeah, I'm okay. I've got quite a busy day on today. That didn't smash it. Yeah, I've got quite a busy day on today, so I'm trying to sort of just get ahead of myself a little bit by getting some cooking on the go now, and then yeah, it's back to phone calls and emails and trying to get trades and people sorted out for stuff to do with both my bit of the property but also the property as a whole. So I'm just going to get cracking with a load of veg prep. I am making, as always, another batch of courgette soup. These are the ones I'm using. Squeaky. One of my plants, the one in the sort of more the main part of the garden, has been so prolific, but I didn't realise it got itself a little second stem going on. So it was only last night when I was watering that I spotted a rogue one. So these, yeah, that's kind of smallish, and then that's kind of, well, big-ish. So I guess normally you'd kind of harvest somewhere between the two. This one I missed. It's like my smile. Yeah, I hadn't seen it at all. It's a whopper. I think, just having a little fingernail test, I think the skin is going to be a little bit tough on that, so I'll probably skin it, which is a shame. You know, I'm always talking about liking to keep the skins. Anyway, I'm doing veg prep. I'm not actually doing a recipe with you as such. But yeah, get the courgette soup underway. I'm going to get a curry underway. And then I'm going to probably do some kind of bits and bobs of leftover veggies, do a bit of a long, slow stew type cook, adding a load of beans and chickpeas. Anyway, that's immaterial. The point is I'm just getting on with getting a load of cooking done this morning to free me up to make... Oh, I've got a bit of onion skin. Yeah, just to free me up to the sort of phone calls, emails, etc. this afternoon. Now, one thing that has happened since I last saw you is my smart meter got replaced. So when I moved in here, there was a smart meter for the electricity, not for the gas. The gas meter is now pretty swamped by tomatoes. I put some spare tomatoes out the front and yeah, they're doing very well. Sounds like there's someone in my garden. That's weird. It's weird how sound carries. It was my, oh, and that's my broom gone over. That was my neighbour just in the garden chatting. But next, anyway. Yes, so he came to replace the electricity, and it turned out he was going to replace the old gas meter with a smart meter. I felt in the end that I didn't have any choice, but there we go. And then they gave me this little box that's got a display. It sort of displays your usage as it's happening. I'm sure tons of you, I'm on the rocky part of the kitchen counter, it's annoying. Yeah, I'm sure tons of you have got these already. When I had the smart meter put in London, again, it was just the electricity in London. They didn't give me one of these boxes because the meter and my flat, they were too far apart. It wouldn't have, the gadgets wouldn't speak to each other. So this is my first time with one. And I know, because I've seen it on TV documentaries, etc., how people can get a little bit obsessed with these boxes and just, you know, kind of sitting watching over them, you know, every 5 minutes. So I thought, okay, well, I've got it. I'm not going to bother with it too much. In the evening, curiosity got the better of me. So I had a look. It had a little tutorial on it. Just, you know, press one button and it took me through all the different processes. And it can tell me how much my kilowatt hour usage is. In other words, in that hour, what is it costing me to run whatever? plus it gives me a running total for the day, both gas and electricity. So it told me, I think it said that I was on 2p an hour, and I thought, great. But then I went to the running total, and the running total was just a mad figure. Can't remember what it was in the evening. I wrote it all down because I thought, I don't think any of this is right. So I had it was put in on the Friday, and my online account where it all shows up, that didn't catch up with it until the Monday. So I had a weekend to worry, because Friday night when I went to bed, I was still awake at midnight, and I saw that at midnight it had zeroed itself. Great. When I got up on Saturday morning at 7 a.m, I looked at this thing straight away. Now, bearing in mind, I don't leave anything plugged in unless it has to be. Fridge, freezer, and the oven. The oven is hardwired on. I actually don't know where my oven switch is, thought to self to find it. But with the oven, I haven't used the oven at all since I've moved in, but it has got the clock on the front of it. So it's using a tiny, tiny amount of electricity to have that clock running. So yeah, if something's not in use, I unplug it. So whether that's my computer, my DVD player screen, my stereo, my hi-fi, the kettle, whatever it is, I plug it in to use it. When I finished, I unplug it. So it's not even a case of, oh, save money by turning off the standby. I don't even have the plug in the wall. So I knew that overnight, the only usage I'd had was fridge, freezer, and the cooker is plugged in. Nothing else. So in other words, my consumption overnight should have been pennies. By the time I got up in the morning at 7 a.m, it said for my consumption, £2, was it £2.40, £2.10 or £2.40? I've got it written down somewhere, it doesn't matter. It was over £2, and I thought, what? That's crazy. That's my normal consumption for 4 full days. So my average consumption is about, this is without the standing charge. Standing charge is a whole different game. Don't get me started on the expense of that. But an average day, which is, you know, the computer will be on most of the time, and then there will be something else on in the background, either, you know, the DVD or the radio. There'll be something on in the background that's making noise. I like that kind of noise and chat as company. And of course, well, at this time of year, not really any lighting, obviously during the day, but that's kind of it. And on those days, I know that I'm about 50p. That's my usage. If I'm having, so like a day like today when I'm doing batch cooking, so the hob will be on for quite a chunk today, maybe in total an hour and a half, 2 hours. I'm also going to do some laundry. It might be 2 loads. So in other words, a batch cooking and laundry day usually puts me up to about £1 in my usage. So over sort of 4 days or so, yeah, it's normally coming in at about sort of £2 to £2.50. So to have had that literally in the 7 hours that I'd been in bed with nothing on, it's like, what? Anyway, I had a whole weekend of just seeing this number going up and up and up. And on the one hand, it's telling me that I've got a 1p an hour, you know, wattage usage. But by the same token, it's going up 30p, 40p an hour. I don't have the budget. I cannot afford, I mean, I can't really afford more than £1 a day, because then you've got to add the standing charge as well. So yeah, in the afternoon, I turned absolutely everything off apart from the fridge freezer, turned everything off, unplugged everything, and I just read a book. I'll tell you about the book in a second. But no, it was still going up and up and up. I don't know why, I don't know what's wrong with it, but then on Monday, finally my online account started to show my smart meter. And for instance, that that day when I decided in the afternoon to just turn everything off. And I think it wasn't until about 8:30 in the evening I turned a light on to read by. That day it showed up, my usage was about 24p. So why was the box saying £3.60? And it wasn't cumulative, it's just for that day. So, yeah, it's a bit, that box, the little describey box, has been put back in its box and it's now in the hall cupboard stashed away, because that was a really horrible little fright it gave me. Because, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? We've talked about this before with our fuel bills in the UK. I know it's similar in other parts of Europe. But they've gone so high that we are literally having to turn things up. We are literally having to make decisions about just like not cooking, or, you know, not having the heating on, whatever it is, which, I mean, I think it's disgraceful in this day and age. And as I've mentioned before, that's nothing to do with me being like, oh, super frugal, denying myself heat because of frugality. No, it's simply that it's just too expensive. And, you know, friends, again, I've mentioned this before, friends who work full time, who have regular jobs, you know, friends who are nurses can't afford to put their heating on either. So it's nothing to do with me being frugal and being some kind of martyr. Anyway, what I hope, I haven't had a bill yet, what I hope, and this is why I wrote down all those figures over the weekend, and I've now got it obviously on the computer, I hope when my bill comes through, it matches what I'm seeing online and doesn't match the box. If it matches the boxes, you can bet your bottom dollar I'm going to be raising merry hell, because there's no way me as, you know, a single person household, there's no way I can use that amount. It's just crazy. And I mean, especially between midnight and 7 a.m. What? I wasn't doing anything, I was asleep. Right, that's the veggies chopped for that. Shall I start in the next little lot? So, yeah, anyway, just a bit of a rant. Oh, and also, talking of ranting, I think I need another bowl. Just to put my chopped stuff into. Yeah, I'm going to chop my mushrooms. Swedes already chopped because it was left over. Yeah, let's have a little rant. I'm gonna, chucking stuff everywhere. Yeah, a little mini rant. Now, I know there are worse things in the world. There are far worse things in the world. But permit me. My little rant. So, since moving in, let's get my ergonomics right. Since moving in, there've been a number of things I've purchased. There've been things I've needed to purchase, which, you know, I simply didn't need in my other flat, but I need here. Or where something in my previous flat was just getting utterly worn out. And I kept saying to myself, replace it once you've moved, wait till you've moved, wait till you've moved. Anyway, the long and the short is, because of that, I've had quite a few deliveries. I mean, you know, I try to shop local wherever I can, but, you know, there are some things I haven't been able to. Fridge freezer, for example. What I'm getting a little bit fed up with, and remember, this is all with a pinch of salt. I mean, I'm not going to talk about the news, what's in the news. That doesn't make me fed up. It makes me angry and it makes me heartbroken what I see in the news. This is just a little, you know, we're just having this is a day-to-day rant. Oh, I'm chopping the mushroom too. I thought I was doing spaghetti bolognese then. I'm doing my mushrooms too small. I want them chunky for my curry. The review culture. Is anyone else finding that too? I feel like I'm being asked to review everything all the time. So for instance, with the fridge freezer, so I bought it from an online I think they're only online. I think that's how they keep their costs down. They don't have bricks and mortar shops. So I bought it from an online company. When it was delivered, the company who I bought it from AO. And I like them. I think they've been great for me. Remember at the time, I told you they have this sort of little membership thing, which brings the cost down even further. If you're buying more than, I think it only works out if you're buying more than one item, it's well worth doing this membership thing. So I like them. I said at the time, I rate them. But within 24 hours or so of the delivery, I was being asked to review AO. And I did. I thought, you know, it's been good service, I'll give them a review. I mean, this was just the beginning of it all. And I don't know, within a couple of days, I'd obviously registered it with, it's Bico or Baco. I'd obviously registered it for the warranty. So then I get a thing from Baco, they want me to review the actual product, the fridge freezer. So, okay, I'll review the product. I mean, how can I review something that I've only had plugged in for 2 days? I don't really know. And I made note of that in my review that, you know, so far so good, but it's only 2 days. And then within that same day, I think, I got another email. So it all comes back, you get bombarded with these emails. Can we have a minute of your time? Honestly, by the time I do all these reviews, you've actually had a full working day of my time. So then I get a thing through from, was it the delivery company? I can't remember whether it was them or it might have been somewhere. Anyway, asked to review the delivery company. So now it's like, I buy something online, I've got to review the online store I bought it from, I've got to review the manufacturer of the goods, I've got to review the delivery company. I don't got to any of them, by the way. Yeah, I just feel like you know, I've spent my money with you. Just leave it at that, will you? It's funny, isn't it? Because it seems these days it's so hard to get any sort of customer service from companies. But yet they're very quick to ask us to give them a glowing review, but they're not so quick to help us when something hasn't gone right. But yeah, this whole review thing, there's something I buy online and I buy it regularly. Hold on a sec. Yeah, it's something that I buy regularly. I've been buying it since I was in London, last sort of 2 or 3 years or so. And I don't have it on a repeat order as such, but when I get low, you know, I put an order and I have an account and rather than going around and looking for all the bits, I just press on the, whatever my last order was, I just press on the buy again. So this is, you know, 3 years. Literally every time they ask me for a review. And it's like, it's the same product. And I've bought it, it's, you know, it's the vitamins and stuff I use. And yeah, it drives me a bit insane. And there's no box to tick to say, listen, I reviewed this product 3 years ago. You're asking me to review it every 4 or 5 months. Please stop asking me to review it. I've already given you a review. But it's also in face-to-face, in person, in shops. So I've not had it here, but in my old branch of Boots in London, because a couple of years ago my doctor decided that I needed a stronger pain relief than I was getting over the counter. So put me onto a prescription pain relief. And I have my prescription filled. Initially it was for every 25 days, but it's now about every 5 weeks or so. I go in to pick up the prescription, and every time I went in, I'd get my prescription, and with the receipt, it's printed on the bottom. They say, oh, can you just go online and give us a review? And they want it specifically for that branch. So they say, oh, yeah. And then they'll write their own name on it. So, you know, here it is, here's all the details, go online here, give us a review. Oh, you could win, you know, we'll put you into the raffle. It's like, stop it. I want to go into a shop and buy something and go home. Or if it's the online thing, I mean, how useful are reviews anyway? Because I'm a bit old-fashioned. I do write to companies. So if I've received particularly good service, I remember being in a shoe shop once in Bromley in, does it count as South East London or is it in Kent? It's just on the border. It's a few miles from where I used to live. And there's a shoe shop there. I think it's called Jones. Is it Jones? And I'm trying to remember the name of the shopping centre. The Glades? Is it the Glades? So it's Jones the bootmaker in the Glades in Bromley. And I've got quite big feet. Well, I'm a size 8, size 42, which, I mean, it's not huge, not for a lass, a tall lass. And I hate shoe shopping. And this is in the days when I used to wear proper shoes rather than these days I just live in trainers or I'm barefoot. Yeah, I used to hate shoe shopping because it would I'd just end up feeling like a freak and feeling ugly, you know, with assistants saying, oh, we don't do them that big. Have you tried the men's department? Yeah, whatever. Anyway, this one lass, on one occasion, she was so helpful and I was getting really upset. She was so lovely and so helpful. So I wrote a letter on a piece of paper, a handwritten letter to the manager of the branch to say, your member of staff, I can't remember what her name was, I'm going to call her Susie. Your member of staff, Susie, is brilliant, she was so helpful, etc, etc. And I'll say why. I won't just say she's brilliant, I'll say why. I'm old school like that. Likewise, if I've had terrible service, I'll write to the manager of a shop. I might not name an individual because I don't really want to get someone into trouble, but it's more of a sort of a global thing for you and your staff be aware of. So I feel like if something is great and deserves praise, credit where credit's due is one of my mottos. Credit where credit's due. If I get great service, then yes, I'll be more than happy to write to your company. I suppose these days, yeah, I would do it by email. I'll write to your company and say, thank you for your fabulous service on such and such a day, and this was why it was fabulous. This is what made it fabulous. Likewise, if something is rubbish, either the product or the service, let me write to the company and say, I'm very disappointed with your service because of X, Y, or Z. But nagging me all the time, especially when it's a repeat thing, like going into Boots for my prescription or the online stuff that I buy regularly, it's driving me absolutely insane. Anyway, yeah, that's my little rant. I suppose as well, one of the annoying bits of that is when you're continually being, so one of the companies that over the years, but especially in this chunk of time since I've moved in, I've been using, a lot of people use Every, the couriers Every, they used to be my Hermes. And one of the guys, there seems to be two different lots who do it for me here. One of the guys is brilliant, he's really friendly, he's quite cheeky, I like him, we always end up having a couple of seconds of chat, and he puts it into my hand. The other ones, it's like they're playing knock up ginger. Okay, cultural reference. Knock up ginger is when you run up to someone's house and knock on their door or press their doorbell and run away and hide. You know, kids do it. So the other delivery person for this company, it's like knock up ginger. They come to the door, they press the doorbell, sling the parcel on my doorstep, and they're off. There have been times when I haven't been in, I've come home and I found it on the doorstep. So they don't even check to see if someone's in and go, oh, there's no one in, I have to take the parcel. And you're still asking me for reviews. Really? Do you really want me to tell you every time? But also, does it matter? Does it matter if I say, the service is rubbish. Is it going to change anything? Is that company going to learn from my review or our reviews? And the other thing is, are the reviews helpful? Now, I mentioned this a bit when I bought the washing line. Oh, I love having my washing line. I so love being able to hang my washing out. That's, the novelty of that smell. The smell of vaguely salty sea air and fresh air on my bed linen especially. Yeah, that novelty has not worn off, and I don't think it ever will wear off. But yeah, when I was looking for, because I was online looking for it, and every now and then, I'd find one, I'd think, oh, that looks good. You see, this is what I mean about the colour. Look at all that gorgeous stuff to use. So that is going to be the basis of a stewy thing. Oh, excuse me, a beanie stewy thing. Yeah, when I was buying the washing line, I was looking at loads, and then I'd find one, and I think, oh, that looks good. And I never used to look at reviews, but I don't know, I think someone suggested I should. And you'll get, 20 5-star reviews and 10 1-star reviews. So obviously reviews are so subjective anyway. So I read both, obviously. And the 5-star reviews maybe sort of like, delivered really quickly, love it, it's perfect for my small space, what have you. And then you look at the 1-star reviews and they say, absolutely rubbish, snapped in the first breeze of wind. So what is it? Is it a great product or is it absolutely rubbish? So when I was looking for it, I'd see reviews like that and I think, okay, I'll avoid it. I'll find something else, find another one. Oh, this looks good, and oh, it rotates good so it can move in the wind, blah, blah, blah. Look at the reviews. 20 5-star reviews, 10, 15 1-star reviews. Not exactly the same reviews, but exactly the same position where, oh, it looks great. People are saying it's great. And then, oh, people are saying it's rubbish. What is it? Is it great or is it rubbish? I just don't know. Yeah, so my rant, that part of my rant, there's another bit of rant coming up, is, if there's any companies watching, which there won't be, just please stop nagging us about reviews, because that's the other thing. I feel I have been at times nagged. Dear Miss Gregory, you still haven't left a review for your recent purchase. No, and I'm not going to. Stop emailing me. Unsubscribe from that email, from that company. Oy vey. My other little rant, I've got a little tiny itch there. Don't use your fingers. My other little rant, I have to be delicate about this one. Charity shops. I love charity shops. I love charity shops. Got a charity shop top on. Look how it's faded though. Look, it used to be like that dark pink, but look how it's faded. It's bleached because it's one of my favourite tops to wear in the garden because of its pockets and, secateurs in one and my gloves in the other, string and what have you. So all those years of sunshine. Yeah, I love charity shops, I do. Most of my clothes come from charity shops. So much of my, kitchen bits and bobs, books, etc., etc. I have bemoaned the fact that I do think recently, at least some of them, their pricing seems a bit crazy. So, for instance, down here in Swanage, there's one of them. I'm not going to name them because I think generally they're all good and they give good service and do good stuff. But one of them, their books are crazy prices. Their books, which obviously they've been donated to them, they've had them for free, and the staff and volunteers talked about that before as well, but their books are more expensive than the books in my shop. Every now and again I look again to see, I think, oh, that would be great for my shop, and I look at it, sorry, excuse me. yes, I'm glad I answered. I needed to answer that one. It's more to do with the house. Yeah, so charity shops, I think some of them are getting a bit silly with their prices, a bit expensive. But the thing that's been bugging me recently, and I noticed this goes back to London, and it's something that I've sort of been noticing over the last year or so. Look, I want charity, and this is why I'm being careful. I want the charities to make their money. I know, for instance, the one in London that I particularly enjoyed supported our local hospice, and I've had 2 friends make use of that hospice. It's well loved within the community, so I want them to raise as much money as they possibly can. You know, that's a given. But once upon a time, I don't know, I feel like once upon a time, charity shops, there was almost like a symbiotic relationship whereby, how to put it delicately, I'm just going to dive in. The sort of the more well-to-do members of a community donate their lovely things to the shop. So the well-to-do members, not even well-to-do, but you know, middle-income families, they donate their nice stuff to the charity shops. And then people like me, the poor people, or the people who were on benefits and really poor, they rely on the charity shops for kind of everything, clothing, pots, pans, whatever it is. So you've got these 2 groups of society, different spokes on this wheel, and in the middle is the charity shop. So the people who are better off donate, and the people with nothing go there to hopefully get the things they need really cheap, certainly affordable if you're on benefits, or if, like me, you've got a really low income. Recently though, it feels like the charity shops, firstly, they're getting more and more expensive, to the point where, you know, I remember folks saying to me at times, or why don't you, you know, look at, say, dresses in charity shops for fabric, because there's quite a bit of fabric in a dress, although it can be a bit tricky, because if the dress, you know, if there's darts, pleat, whatever, you lose a lot of fabric through that. But anyway, yeah, in principle, it's like, yeah, you might get a couple of meters of fabric out of a dress, buy a dress. And, you know, once upon a time, even within the last sort of 4 or 5 years, you might pick up a dress for £5. But now, like, the dresses are £20 or more. I think it's especially galling when it's items of clothing from the supermarkets. So if it's George at Asda, or Tu, which is Sainsbury's, or Florence and Fred. So if anyone outside of the UK, our big supermarkets do ranges of clothing. It's really cheap. So this top was actually Marks and Spencer's. So Marks and Spencer's, it would probably be 25, 30 quid new. If it was in Sainsbury's, it would probably be 15, 18 pounds new. So when the charity shops are charging, you know, £5 or £6 for a top from the supermarket. Anyway, so we know what the prices are going up. But what has crept in recently, and this irks me. So it happened the other day. I went into a charity shop, I saw a paperback book, and I thought, brilliant, that's perfect for my bookshop, for my online shop. Now, I would probably sell it for £3.75, even though it's in gorgeous condition, £3.75, so it'll be a bargain for someone. Now, once upon a time, it used to be, you know, paperbacks would be 50p, maybe £1 at most. So in this shop, it was £2.75. £2.75 for a paperback. But I thought, I really want to have it for the shop. I want someone else to be able to have it. I'll do it. Thinking, well, there's only £1 in it for me. And by the time I've done all the photography and the listing, and it's tiny. But I'll do it. So I take it to the till and, you know, hand it over, and I say hello, because I've been going in there quite a bit, and how are you doing? And this is the bit that's starting to bug me, and it's happening so often. Would you like to round that up to £3? You know, as a shop, if you want £3 for it, put £3 on the price label. And if it was £3, I'd have walked away. would you like to round that up to £3? And you feel guilt tripped, don't you, as well? I feel this sense of, oh, well, it's only 25p and it's for charity. Go on, go on, go on, go on. And so I just said, no, sorry, I can't. And then so I've got my purse out, because, you know, I'm a cash kind of girl. So, I found a £1 coin, I've got a couple of 50p's, and then I'm getting down to 10p's and 5p's and getting it ready to round. I'm getting £2.75, an exact change. And as I'm doing that, she says, oh, can I interest you in buying a lottery ticket? We have a lottery, there's a monthly cash prize of £500, they're £1 a ticket. Can I interest you in a lottery ticket? So I'm getting this change. And I just looked at her and I said, look, I can't afford to round the book up by 25p. I certainly can't afford a lottery ticket. No, thank you. Get the money. But it's this constant pressure to keep giving more, keep giving more. And I don't just mean it with charities, I just mean kind of throughout life in general. I feel like we're all just seen as cash cows. Just give us more, give us more, give us more, spend more. No, £2.75 was already more than I wanted to pay for the book, but it should sell, so, I'll take a punt. But to round it up to £3 and then ask me for a lottery ticket purchase, that's another quid. So in other words, I've gone in there for a £1 paperback, couldn't get it, and I've ended up spending £4. It's infuriating. I think what it is I feel like, and look, I know, like I said, pinch of salt, worst things in the world, but it feels like I spend so much of my time these days having to say no thank you and almost having to explain myself. So no, I don't want to round it up. No, I don't want a lottery ticket. No, I don't want to give you a review on the 36th time of asking. Please leave me alone. Just one final rant. Oh no, I've got a happy thing to end on. Where's my happy thing? There we go, to remind me. One more rant. I'm looking at getting my built-in bookcases / cabinets done for the living room. So I want to have a local carpenter, ideally. That's calls to make today. But in the meantime, I rang Sharps. You know Sharps, it's like fitted bedroom furniture we think of. But they actually do all sorts of... Now, I'm not promoting them, by the way, but they do living room... They do bookcases. So they arranged for it's basically a sales pitch person to come over. He was really nice. We got chatting about other stuff. We got chatting about cycling, the Tour de France. On their website, there's this big deal about, sustainably sourced wood, it's sustainable, we recycle wood, blah, blah, blah. So, okay. When he got here, he brought a sample, and immediately I thought, my heart sank, because the whole thing was wrapped in plastic. So it's some kind of vinyl, it's heat shrink wrapped onto the wood. Yeah, because apparently it's recycled pallets. Pallets? And you want this price? Anyway, he was doing a really good sales pitch, because basically saying that each alcove, one fitted bookcase, it would normally be £4,000, but today you can have it for £2,000 because it's our summer sale. Just £2,000. Obviously, the psychology is to make you think you're getting a fantastic bargain. Quick, sign on the dotted line. Quick, it's a bargain. And if you don't do it today, you're going to miss out. It's a terrible sales pitch. I'm not having a go at him. I just think it's their operating practices are sneaky. But anyway, I said, I'm not going to sign anything today. I'm never going to sign something on the day. I want to think about it. So off he went, and the next day I was thinking about it. I thought, I just can't justify it. I am not it wasn't even the price, actually, because a carpenter's probably going to cost about that. But I can't justify bringing plastic into my home. I don't need plastic-covered bookshelves. But also, what if I don't quite like the colour? You can't paint them. Because I asked him, I said, can you paint over this? He said, no, they can't be painted. He said, but don't worry, it won't chip. They're guaranteed for 15 years. So I decided pretty much, the next day. So he'd emailed the quote. So I emailed back and I said, look, I've given it a good thought, but it's plastic coated. I cannot justify bringing that amount of plastic in the world because you know, at the end of the day, how will it be disposed of in years to come? I can't dispose of it. Whereas if it's wood, it'll compost. I said, and you know, this, and I mentioned in my email, this isn't a go at you in any way, but also maybe mention to your company to stop using the word sustainable, because this is not a sustainable product. It's not. Anyway, so I clearly said, I won't be going forward. No, thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your presentation, but I will not be purchasing. For the next 24 hours, I had 6 phone calls from the company. 6. And by the 3rd one, I was getting quite grumpy because it starts the same every time. It's like, hello, it's Sharps, just calling you because you booked a just to find out, you know, how do you like the product? Are you ready to place your order yet? La la la, all happy. So by the 3rd one, I said, look, I have already told 2 of your colleagues on the phone this morning, plus I've put it in writing in an email. I am not proceeding. Please, can you remove me from your phone list? But I didn't stop them. 6 phone calls. So by the last one, I was this all in one day. So I'm trying to work, I'm trying to do stuff, I'm trying to film or whatever it is. So yeah, by the 6th one, I was really short and I said, look, this is not personal. This is not aimed at you. It's not you at all. But this is the 6th phone call I've had today. This is harassment now. I've told you over and over and over again, I do not want your product. Remove me from your list. I didn't do that on the phone. And she said, okay, we will do. I said, can you make sure you do? Anyway, yeah, rants. Reviews, reviewing things, being asked to top up what I'm, you know, round up what I'm paying on the price tag. Little happy note before we end. The other day I was popped into town to post office and I think Boots. Quite a bright sunny morning. It was going to be a beautiful day. About 9:30 in the morning. And I was going slowly, just sort of mooching along the street between the post office and Boots. And you see a lot of families around here with the trolleys. They're kind of like, I think what you call wagons in the States. I've never seen them in use anywhere other than at the beach. But they're about this long, this wide, this deep, 4 wheels at each corner. So they're low and flat with a bar to pull them along with. And you see people with them all over around here, and they're piled high with boogie boards and, you know, towels and the cool box and, yeah, all their food and drinks for the day and all the toys for the kids and the windbreak and deck chair on the top, you know, crazy the amount of stuff people get on them. So I was walking along and I could see a family had stopped. It looked like it was a couple who were maybe late 20s, another couple, presumably a set of parents. I saw the trolley and it didn't look very full, and because I'm nosy, as I walked past, I just kind of glanced down into the trolley and there was Eric. Eric, the tortoise having a day at the beach. Oh my goodness. Well, they said, you know, they've come on holiday to Swanage for a week. You know, they don't want to leave their tortoise at home. We get a tortoise sitter. There aren't catteries or kennels for tortoises, so they've brought him along. Apparently he loves the beach. It kind of makes sense because they're desert animals, aren't they, tortoises? Anyway, he was happy as like, he had a nice big piece of cucumber he was nibbling on, and he was very active in there. So apparently Eric loves his seaside holidays each year. They told me how old he was, 27. I think they said 27. Had him since he was a baby. So it absolutely made my day. Eric the tortoise. As I was walking away, I turned back to sort of wave. And then I noticed they've got a little bubba, a little baby, human baby, in a pushchair as well. It's like, you know, most people would stop and say, your baby's really cute, and coo over the baby. I said, sorry, I ignored the baby. But Eric's the star. If they're watching, I hope you've had a lovely holiday. They'll be long back to wherever they live by now. But yeah, there we go. Eric and his seaside holiday as a happy note. Right, I didn't get very far with my veg. I did enough. So I'm going to get cooking now. Leave it there. There was tons of others. I've got a couple of absolute cracking books to share with you and some other bits and bobs. Oh yeah, some trivia I found out about Carnival. I'll do that in another one. If I've got time, I'll film that today, but I'm going to get on with this and phone calls. And that phone call that interrupted us, I now need to attend to it. So I will see you all again really soon. Get it off your chest. Get it off your chest. Better out than in. Until the next one, lovelies, cheerio.